The research that you've conducted up until this point is wildly important. It's so important, in fact, that I have had brands pay me thousands of dollars just to conduct this research for them and present it to them, and to give them guidance on next steps. I've also included a slide deck for you that you can use to present all this amazing information to your teams. So let's dive in and I can give you a quick look and show you how to make the most of this. Okay, so I chose to make this in Canva because I've actually found it way more user-friendly to make graphs and designs and to just make it look a little bit more polished. But you can easily export this to Google Slides if you want. So here's the title slide, really self-explanatory. I do have an overview section here where you can link out to all of your onboarding documents, to your kickoff decks, and really anything that you use to compile all this great information for them. I like to think of it as a base camp. Now, next up is where I like to compile really quick links to some of the important press that you found, the social media accounts, Reddit and review sites, and then the places where you are mining your customer reviews. You can also add a few quotes here or there, or add a few notes if you think that there's something important that you kind of want to tease for the rest of the presentation. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is go over press. And here you see I like to put some screenshots on the right, and I really want to go over high-level takeaways. So what kind of focus did their press have? Did it include a lot of celebrities? Was it focused on a certain product? Was it positive or negative? And also include here any amazing opportunities that they have here for usage in ads. Next up is social media. So really what this is just your perspective on how you think this brand or how your own brand is conducting social media on the organic side. And really what you want to zoom in on here are the things that can affect paid performance. So how is community management being handled? And essentially, how is that community being served? Are there any trends with positive or negative comments? And also be sure to highlight anything organic here that you think could be repurposed onto ads. That's really low-hanging fruit. And then here I like to link out to the customer review mining sheet, but I also like to extract the most important or impactful positive and negative reviews so you can go over high-level findings with your team. Next, I like to go into the past performance audit, and I really like to keep this high level at this point. So here we want to look at, okay, let's take a look at our top performing creatives over the last 30 days and the last 6 months. What were our top formats? What was the top messaging? And what was the top imagery presented in all of those ads? Were there any common threads? And then I like to zoom in on the top hook and hold rates. So when looking at video, what were the creatives that had the best hook rates? And what exactly was the messaging in those? What was the imagery of those? Again, looking for any trends here. The next part is actually where I find it tends to be interesting, and you can really easily edit this right here by putting in your own numbers for the age demographic. But really what you want to zoom in on are, hey, are there any interesting trends that maybe your brand didn't know about beforehand as it relates to both age and gender, as well as placements? Was there anything there that you think stood out to them and something that they need to be aware of? Next up is competitors. Now you can actually have as many slides for as many different competitors as you want. A lot of times I'm zooming in on 4 or 5 different competitors when I'm doing this for brands because there are so many amazing insights that you can have there. And I also like to take a look at the ads that seem to have been running the longest for the competitors and place those on those slides too. And then finally, the last slide is really your high-level learnings. So what were the top formats that had previously worked for the brand? What about the top messaging, the top visuals? And then highlight the opportunities. So everything that you had on the slides that you felt like was an opportunity, from press, from your customer testimonials, and then really from your competitor research, looking at all of that from a really high-level view, what are some broad strokes next steps that you can recommend for a brand? And of course, you you can go a little bit more in depth for this. Oftentimes brands really like to have a prescription or a roadmap of next steps, and that's absolutely something that you can outline a little bit more clearly. And that's all. Really, you can add a few more pages here or there, but this is really the baseline for this type of document if you want to present to your team or to a brand that you're working with. And honestly, the feedback that I've had from this has been really, really positive. Even with brands that I've worked for a while and I've gone through and I've redone the strategy research, I always feel like there's something surprising that we find through this process. And being able to present this to the team generates really, really amazing discussion because the client feels like we're looking at it from a 360 point of view. We're not just looking at, hey, how are the ads doing? We're also looking at the press, the organic strategy. We're, looking at how people are responding in the testimonials. So it really does feel a little bit more robust than just thinking about ad creative. If you actually end up using this slide deck, be sure to @ me on Instagram or on Twitter or on Threads. My goodness, that just came out yesterday. So I'm kind of curious in the future if that's a thing. But let me know how it goes because I am super eager to hear this feedback and also improve it for you as soon as I can. All right, see you in the next module.